Stop and listen, because this message did not reach you by accident. Archangel Michael says there is a secret that has been hidden for years, and it is finally about to be exposed. Not hidden from heaven, but hidden from your understanding. Not forgotten by God, but wrapped inside a season that looked too painful to mean anything. You have been asking why certain things had to happen, why the doors closed when they did, why the answers delayed, why the people changed, why the path twisted when you thought you were finally close. And now heaven says the pattern is about to make sense. Do not skip this. Do not turn away too quickly, because what is being revealed now will change how you remember the wilderness. Type Amen if you know God has been working even when you could not trace Him. There were moments when you thought the struggle was random. Moments when disappointment arrived so often that you started building a life around survival instead of expectation. But there is something else you need to know. Not one tear was wasted, not one delay was empty, and not one silent night was meaningless. Heaven kept records of every battle you fought in secret. The things that broke your heart were not ignored. They were being woven into a larger design. You were being protected from what you could not yet see. You were being preserved for what you were not yet ready to carry. And yes, I know that sounds mysterious, but stay with this, because the first part of the revelation is not that the struggle was real. The revelation is that the struggle was strategic. Comment still standing, if you are still here after everything you have faced. Some of you were betrayed by people you trusted, and that betrayal became a doorway into a deeper kind of discernment. Others watched plans collapse, only to later realize that what collapsed was never strong enough to hold your destiny. There were prayers you thought went unanswered, but heaven was answering them in ways you did not expect. Closed paths, delayed opportunities, and long seasons of waiting were not proof that you were abandoned. They were often proof that God was refusing to release you into a place that would have drained your purpose before it could fully bloom. Keep reading carefully, because before long you will see how even the places that felt like punishment were acting like protection. Type protected if you believe God covered you when you did not even know danger was near. Archangel Michael says that there was a hidden battle around your life that you never fully saw. Not every obstacle was natural. Some of the resistance was spiritual, and the pressure you felt was connected to a war over what your future would become. That is why the discouragement sometimes felt so targeted, so personal, so relentless. You were not just tired, you were being pressed. You were not just confused, you were being tested. You were not just waiting, you were being trained. And what happens next is important. The same place that tried to drain your hope is the place from which your authority is about to rise. There is a shift approaching, and it will make sense of everything that came before it. Comment ready if your spirit can feel that something is changing. For a long time, you may have looked back and only seen what was lost. The relationship that ended, the opportunity that slipped away, the dream that seemed to die before it could live, the family situation that never healed the way you hoped, the body that felt weak, the finances that stretched too thin, the doors that stayed shut no matter how hard you knocked. But heaven says there was another story running beneath the visible one. While you were grieving one outcome, God was preparing another. While you were trying to understand the no, heaven was planting the yes in a deeper place. Some blessings do not arrive with celebration first. They arrive disguised as delay. Some promotions do not look like elevation at the start. They look like isolation. Type 1 believe if you are willing to trust what you cannot yet see. Do not ignore this part. One of the hidden purposes of your struggle was to separate your voice from the voice of fear. There was a time when bitterness tried to take root, and if you were honest, you almost let it. You almost decided that nothing would ever change. You almost made peace with disappointment. But even then, heaven was guarding your heart from becoming hardened beyond repair. The very pain that tried to make you cynical was also exposing what God needed to heal. That is why your journey has felt so intense. The Lord was not only moving you forward, He was refining what could travel with you. Some habits had to fall away. Some attachments had to end. Some old versions of you had to die. And yes, that process can feel like loss before it feels like liberation. Type faith if you are ready to let God complete what He started. There is a hidden blessing in what you called your detour. The mountain that blocked your view was not sent to destroy you. It was there to make you climb. And as you climbed, your perspective changed. You began to see that not every delay is denial. Not every closed gate is rejection. Not every silence is absence. Sometimes heaven is positioning you so that when the door opens, you will recognize it without confusion. And that is exactly why this secret could not be revealed too early. If you had known the purpose at the beginning, you might have rushed the process. But now, with time behind you and wisdom in you, the revelation can land with power. The next revelation changes everything, so keep reading and do not leave too soon. Comment "My time is coming" if you believe your season is not over. Archangel Michael says there are conversations happening behind the scenes that you were never meant to hear at the time. Decisions were being weighed. Paths were being measured. A hidden approval was being prepared. And even though the people around you may have acted like nothing was happening, heaven was already moving pieces into place. Someone is talking about you in a room you have not entered yet. A name is being remembered. A door is being aligned. An opportunity that seemed impossible is already under consideration. You do not need to force what God is arranging, but you do need to stay alert, because the moment this shift begins to unfold, it may come through a door you stopped watching a long time ago. Type 777 if you sense divine timing is at work. Before we continue, I feel led to share something with you. Over the years, thousands of people have reached out asking for powerful prayers they could pray during difficult seasons of life. That's why I put together a collection of some of the most powerful faith-building prayers I know. These prayers have helped people find peace during anxiety, strength during hardship, and hope when they felt like giving up. The best part is that I decided to make it completely free. If you would like a copy, simply check the link in the description and I'll send it to you. Do not wait until another difficult season arrives. Take it now while it's available and keep it close for the days ahead. Now, there is something else you need to know. You may have wondered why some things had to be so painful, why the wait had to last this long, why healing felt slower than you wanted, why your breakthrough seemed to circle the horizon without landing. But there is another truth being revealed now. The length of the process was tied to the size of the promise. What God was preparing in you required more than quick relief. It required endurance, wisdom, humility, and a heart that could recognize favor without becoming arrogant. You were being built to carry something weighty, something meaningful, something that would bless more than just your own life. And because of that, the road had to shape you deeply. Tonight, even now, heaven is showing you that the burdens you carried were preparing the strength you will need next. Comment "blessed" if you believe God has already been building your future. There is something powerful about dawn, because dawn does not arrive all at once. It comes quietly at first, almost imperceptibly, then the darkness starts losing its grip, and suddenly what seemed endless begins to break. That is what your season is like now. You have been standing in the last hours of a storm, and the light is already pressing against the edge of the sky. Do not let the remaining darkness deceive you. A storm can roar loudly right before it loses its power. A painful chapter can feel most intense just before it ends. And some of you are closer than you realize to understanding the full meaning of what you endured. The river is about to reach dry ground. The wilderness is about to reveal a pathway. The mountain that looked impossible is about to become a lookout point. Type "Yes, Lord" if you are ready for the dawn. Some of you have been carrying questions that no one else could answer. Why did that friendship fade? Why did that job end? Why did that healing take so long? Why did you keep running into the same wall? Heaven says because you were being redirected toward a better kind of fruit. The old path would have given you temporary relief, but not lasting peace. The old environment might have offered comfort, but it could not sustain your calling. The secret that is now coming into the light is that your struggle was not only about endurance, it was about alignment. God was refusing to let your life settle into something that could not hold the assignment He placed on you. That is why some losses were mercies in disguise. That is why some endings were actually rescues. And if you have the courage to say it, you may finally admit that what hurt you also preserved you. Type 1 receive if you are willing to receive that truth. Listen closely, because this is where the story deepens. The enemy tried to convince you that the pain meant you were overlooked, but heaven says the pain meant you were being watched over. There is a difference. When darkness keeps pressing, and the breakthrough seems delayed, it is easy to assume that God has forgotten the details. But the details matter most to Him. The tears you cried in private were known. The prayers you whispered while exhausted were heard. The nights you sat in silence, too tired to explain your pain, were not wasted. Heaven was collecting evidence of your faith. And now, in this moment, what was hidden in the records of heaven is beginning to move into your reality. Something unexpected is approaching, and it will confirm that God was active all along. Comment God is working if you believe the unseen is about to become visible. There is also a hidden reason certain doors stayed shut. Not every open door is safe, and not every opportunity is sent by heaven. Some of what you wanted would have distracted you from what was truly assigned to you. So God allowed a delay that felt cruel but was actually careful. He was shielding you from counterfeit success, premature promotion, and relationships that would have taken more than they gave. Your disappointment was real, but so was the mercy inside it. And because you did not understand that at the time, it felt like being left behind. Yet heaven says you are being kept on purpose. There is a season when God hides you to heal you, and there is a season when He reveals you to bless others through you. You are approaching that second season now. Stay until the end because the revelation grows clearer from here. Type chosen if your spirit knows you were never ordinary. Archangel Michael says the hidden secret was not just about what happened to you. It was about who you became because of it. You became slower to trust people, yes, but also more discerning. You became weary, yes, but also more prayerful. You became quieter in some rooms, but louder in the unseen place where faith is formed. You learned how to survive with less, how to hope when nothing seemed to change, how to keep moving when your heart was tired. That is not weakness. That is formation. And formation always precedes manifestation. Before long, the very traits the struggle produced will become the tools that unlock your next assignment. The softness that pain tried to steal is returning stronger than before. The confidence you lost is beginning to rise again. The joy you postponed is about to visit your spirit. Comment faith if you can feel strength coming back. You need to know that heaven has not only been protecting you from outside opposition, it has also been protecting you from the version of you that would have quit too early. There were days when the temptation to stop believing was strong. The silence felt heavy. The weight felt insulting. The repeated disappointments made it difficult to imagine a different ending. Yet every time you thought you were finished, something in you rose again. That was not random. That was divine preservation. There was a fire in your spirit that could not be extinguished, even when the wind around you was severe, and that fire will matter soon, because what is coming will require a heart that still knows how to trust after disappointment. Do not let the old pain convince you that your future will repeat it. This is a new chapter, and the pattern is breaking. Type 333 if you believe a divine shift is near. Many people watching this message have been carrying burdens they never talk about. If that sounds like you, I want to give you something special. I created a free prayer guide filled with powerful prayers for protection, breakthrough, peace, healing, and strength. Thousands of believers have already downloaded it and shared how much it encouraged them during difficult moments. There is absolutely no cost. I simply wanted to place this resource into the hands of people who need it most. If you feel led, go to the description and claim your free copy before continuing. One prayer prayed at the right moment can change more than you realize. Now listen carefully, because the next part of this message is important. Now the revelation begins to sharpen. The years that seemed wasted were actually collecting wisdom. The delays that frustrated you were actually protecting timing. The losses that emptied you were making room for a future you could not have carried before. And the secret that has been hidden for years is this: the struggle had an architecture. It had purpose, it had direction, it had a finish line. You were not wandering without meaning. You were being led through a narrow corridor so you would emerge with clarity, maturity, and spiritual authority. There is another piece of the puzzle about to appear, and it concerns the blessing that was growing in the dark while you thought nothing was happening. Some of you are going to recognize a door soon, and when it opens, you will finally understand why every closed one was necessary. Comment "I trust God" if you are willing to trust the timing. The mountains in your life were never meant to stay in front of you forever. Mountains only look final when you stand at their base. But as you climb, the shape of the horizon changes, and what once seemed like a wall becomes a vantage point. That is what your current season has been doing. It has been lifting your sight. It has been teaching you how to look beyond immediate pain and into eternal purpose. And now, from this higher place, you will begin to see the connections. The person who walked away pushed you toward a healing you would have delayed. The job that ended forced you toward a calling you would have ignored. The season of waiting refined your discernment so you could recognize what is truly from God. Keep paying attention, because the mountain itself will soon testify that it never had power over your destiny. Comment "ready" if you know the climb was not wasted. There are hidden conversations even now, and one of them involves a door that has been under quiet review. A decision that looked delayed has not disappeared. A name that has been overlooked is being remembered. A place that felt out of reach is closer than it seemed. And although you cannot yet see the full movement, heaven says the pieces are already shifting. What felt like a private battle is becoming a public testimony. What was buried in confusion is rising into clarity. What was hidden in the darkness is moving toward exposure, and that exposure is not meant to shame you. It is meant to vindicate you. The truth will show that you were not lazy, not forgotten, not abandoned. You were in process. Type "blessed" if you are ready for vindication. You may even notice that certain old feelings are losing their grip. The bitterness that once visited you so often is becoming weaker. The fear that used to speak first is getting quieter. The heaviness that followed you around is beginning to lift in waves. That is because revelation weakens oppression. When you understand why you walked through what you walked through, the enemy loses one of his strongest tools: confusion. Confusion kept trying to interpret your pain as proof of failure, but heaven is exposing that lie now. Your endurance was producing something sacred. Your hidden tears were watering a future harvest. Your lonely prayers were building an altar that heaven never ignored. And what God is about to reveal will make your spirit say, "So this is why." Type 1 "believe" if you are receiving the meaning behind the mystery. This is the point where many people would have quit, and maybe that is why your story has felt so intense. You were standing at a threshold, and everything in you was being asked to choose: surrender to discouragement, or continue walking with faith. Some days the answer felt easy, and other days it felt impossible. But you kept moving anyway. That matters more than you know. The breakthrough approaching you is connected to the fact that you kept going when it would have been easier to sink into despair. Heaven saw the faith it took to keep standing. Heaven saw the prayers that had no immediate evidence. Heaven saw the times you did the right thing while feeling nothing at all. And because heaven saw it, Heaven is answering it. Very soon you will look back and realize that your perseverance was never silent in the courts of God. Comment still standing if you made it through what tried to break you. Do not ignore this. A season of recognition is beginning to form around you. Not because you are chasing applause, but because God is making your faith visible. The things you learned in private will begin to bless you in public. The skills formed in obscurity will start to open practical doors. The wisdom born from suffering will attract the right kind of opportunities. People who dismissed you will be forced to reconsider. Places that overlooked you may yet call your name. And the most beautiful part is that you will not have to force the moment. When the appointed hour arrives, the right people will see what heaven has already been saying about you for years. This is why the secret had to stay hidden so long. It needed time to mature into evidence. Type "My time is coming" if you believe recognition is on the way. And now, as we come near the end of this message, the final truth becomes clear. Your struggle was not a sign that God was absent. It was a sign that something greater was being prepared beneath the surface. That hidden purpose is revealing itself now. You are being shaped into someone who could carry peace after pain, wisdom after wandering, and hope after heartbreak. The dry ground was not your grave. It was the place where rivers would eventually break through. The storm was not your ending. It was the passage before dawn. The wilderness was not empty. It was full of divine instruction. Archangel Michael says the exposure happening now will not just explain your past, it will heal your view of your future. You are not returning to what hurt you. You are stepping into what was always meant for you. Type "Yes, Lord" if you are ready to move forward with understanding. So remain until the end in your heart, because heaven is finishing something in you even now. The secret that was hidden for years is not being revealed to torment you with memories. It is being revealed to free you from false conclusions. You were never forgotten. You were never purposeless. You were never outside the reach of God's hand. And soon, very soon, the meaning of your journey will stand before you like sunrise, after a storm, unmistakable and full of mercy. When that moment comes, you will not only thank God for what He gave you, you will thank Him for what He withheld, what He delayed, what He protected, and what He rebuilt. That hidden thing is coming into the light, and when it does, your whole life will begin to make sense. Comment "Amen" if you receive this word and step forward knowing that your struggle has been carrying a destiny all along. Before you leave, remember that my free prayer collection is waiting for you in the description below. Thousands of people have already downloaded it and used these prayers during seasons of anxiety, uncertainty, spiritual battles, and breakthrough. I made it completely free because I want every believer to have access to powerful prayers when they need them most. If this message encouraged you today, make sure you claim your free copy before you go. And if this message spoke to your heart, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and leave your prayer request in the comments so this community can stand with you in faith. May God bless you, strengthen you, and guide every step ahead.